remember asking Allison Jones, she's somewhere around here at the label. I was like, well, who do you think would be good? And she said, I want to send it to Katy Perry. And I was like, all right, like I didn't see that coming.
Hey friends, it's your girl Emily Curl hanging out in my virtual studio, and we have something so special here with you. We're hanging out with Thomas Rhett, celebrating his 6th studio album, Where We Started. TR, good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me today.
I mean, congratulations. I was just saying, it wasn't that long ago we were just celebrating your last album. You have a newest album. Tell me, I'm curious for you, what is the high and the low of album release week?
Well, I would say the high is that you finally get to share with the world what you have kind of had in your back pocket for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of feel like it's like a wedding ring that's been burning a hole in your pocket, and you can't wait to propose. That's kind of what it feels like. Records take a minute to make, but once they get finished, then it takes a while to get them set up, and make sure you're giving yourself a good enough chance for people to hear it who want to. So that's a high for me. I don't know that there is a low. I guess maybe the low is just maybe not seeing my kids a whole lot, over the next couple weeks. But it's a season that we're in, and we're just excited to get it out there. So tonight is going to rock. So.
I mean, one thing that we love about you so much is your family, and we get to follow along like through social media and all of those things. What is it like for this week for them? Do they get so excited for you getting ready for this new music?
Yeah, they do. They really do. Because they've kind of been a part of the journey with me. Like they've been in the car with me several mornings driving to school, playing a demo, then a rough mix, and then a mix, and then a master, and then they get to see these songs take life through all the different phases. And I think that's my favorite part about making a record. You get to watch a song be birthed, whether it's a piano or on a guitar or whatever, and then you take it to the studio and it becomes this new thing, and then all of a sudden you've made an album out of songs that were created from nothing to something. And my kids have been along for me on that journey, which has been really special. And they keep saying, "Daddy, why are you working so hard?" And I'm like, "Well, because this matters." You know what I mean? Like these are things that Daddy really wants to say, and hope the world can resonate with them. And it's been a blast having them alongside me, through the journey of this project. So. Yeah,
and are they at the age now as they're getting older where they understand what Dad does for a living?
They kind of do, but they still ask, like when I'm going on the road, they're like, "Why do you have to go play another show?" And like, I guess my answer changes all the time, but it was like, well, Daddy's gonna go put some smiles on people's faces this weekend. That's the best way I know how to describe it. And so that they kind of get it, and then they kind of don't. Like when they see me like on TV, like at an award show, like my 2-year-old just fully doesn't understand how she could have FaceTimed me 2 minutes ago, and then she sees me on the TV now, but then I come home, she's like, "Are you real or are you virtual?" Like I can't fully grasp it, but it's
the world's
it's
all colliding, truly.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about it. Where we started 10 years ago, you signed your first record deal, right?
Yeah.
And then since then, you go on. You win ACM, CMA awards, Grammy nominated, iHeartRadio awards. Yeah. I mean, when you think back, what would you tell Thomas Rhett at the beginning, signing that first deal? How would you prepare him for what's to come?
I think my main bit of advice for 21-year-old me would be just to kind of embrace the ups and downs. This life is full of uncertainty. I think the best thing you can do is just to write from your heart. But I think when you're 21 years old, you want to get out there and you just want to attack. But I think 32-year-old me would be like, hey man, just embrace those weird moments. Embrace those moments where you don't know what's going to happen next, because it really does kind of work out in the end, whether it's a massive success or just something that you spoke from your heart. I think both of those things are wins. And maybe just to worry a little bit less. I think we would all go back and tell our younger selves that just to not fret as much as we did. But I think that's why we can't go talk back to our younger self, because we need to experience that stuff.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, let's talk for a minute about the collabs on this album. Riley Green, Tyler Hubbard, Russell Dickerson, and Katy Perry, which is such a cool lineup. Let's talk about Katy for a second. How did that one come to be?
I wrote this one song which became the title track, called Where We Started, and I wrote it with a new friend of mine named John Bellion, and I've always been a huge fan of his artistry, but also his songwriting. I think he's one of the most amazing melody makers that I've ever written with. And so we wrote this song and got in the studio and recorded it, and got our first version back. And there was just kind of talk of like, what if this song had a feature on it? And I remember asking Allison Jones, she's somewhere around here at the label. I was like, well, who do you think would be good? And she said, I want to send it to Katy Perry. And I was like, all right. Like I didn't see that coming. I also didn't think Katy would have responded to that email, but she did. And very grateful for that, because I feel like she came in and did something to the song that I never thought imaginable. You know, like for the whole time I thought it was just a solo song, but the moment it became a collab with Katy, it went from like good to great in my book, and I feel like she added a different layer to this album that I think it was missing. So. And
have you guys ever met before in person?
We finally did like a month ago, but like through the recording process, it was all FaceTime. You know what I mean? Like she would say, you know, what parts you want me to sing on? You know, do you want me to sing this here? Do you want me to make up a part here? And then we finally, we shot a music video for the song a few months ago, and that was the first time we actually got to meet. So it was really cool to kind of get to know someone that you've been a fan of, you know, so like 14 or 15 years old, and all of a sudden you're collaborating on a song together. So. What
was like the first Katy Perry song that you loved?
Probably like TGIF or Roar or something like that. I don't know. I feel like she was one of the main people that kind of changed pop music. You know what I mean? Like her and a couple of other people kind of shifted pop music for forever, and that's not an easy thing to do. You know, and I don't think you know that you're doing it until it happens. And so to be paired up with such an icon, you know, like herself is pretty special for somebody like me. So it means a lot. Let's
also talk about Slow Down Summer, your current single that's been such a fan favorite. Tell me a little bit about the story behind this one.
I wrote this song when I was in Montana on a writing trip, and we took this trip as a writing trip, but mostly thought we were just going to fish. And we were looking out this window where we were staying, and you know the leaves were starting to change, and somebody said, "I wish summer would slow on down." And I think as a songwriter, you grasp certain phrases like that, and you wonder, okay, how do we not write this just about leaves changing, you know? And I kind of started thinking back to my younger self, and I remember being 18 years old, and back then my girlfriend Lauren, who is my wife now, she got into a college that I did not get into, and I knew that, you know, once fall hit, more than likely this relationship was not going to go anywhere. And it was like one of those things where you go, man, if I could just pause June for forever, this would be awesome, you know, because I think we've all been in that summer love situation where it's just perfect, you know. There's no pressure, everything's working, but you know that when fall comes, like, you're gonna have to kind of part ways, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it sucks. But ultimately, our story ended well.
I was about to say it worked out great.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's fun to kind of write from your younger perspective, and that song definitely was. So.
Yeah, I mean, and speaking of seasons, you know, we're heading into spring, which, especially in New York after a long winter, I'm very grateful for that. As we go into this new season, what are 3 things that you are really looking forward to, maybe outside of the album?
I'm really excited to tour. I mean, I've been touring, I guess, for 10 years, but I think the last 2 years have kind of made me really itching to get back out there. Our tour starts in June. The band and I have already been in rehearsal, like working on what that's going to look like, and it's always one of my favorite things when you get to release a record and tour in the same year. You kind of get to go try a whole bunch of different stuff on the road. You know, you kind of get to feel, you know, what fan favorites are, and what your set for the foreseeable future is going to look like. So that's one thing I'm really excited about. 2, you know, our kids are now like in school, like real school, like kindergarten, which means you can't miss. And so summertime I'm looking forward to, because they'll be out and we can kind of, you know, we can take some trips together. I've just really enjoyed, you know, getting to bond with my kids over the last couple of years. It's been something that, if it hadn't been for the last couple of years, I wouldn't have got to do as much as I did. And so now we're kind of attached, you know, so I look forward to summer where they can actually get to come out on the road with me. And 3rd, I just can't wait to start writing again. I mean, that's kind of how my brain works.
Already?
You put a record out, and you kind of go, all right, well, now what do we do? You know, and that's always my favorite challenge of being like, okay, we've said all this stuff over the last 10 years, and now what? You know, what's your heart feeling? What's your mind thinking? What experiences are you living? And then you kind of get to go into that whole challenging process again of coming up with something that you feel like is good enough for people to want to listen to. So those are 3 things for sure.
Wow. Well, we're excited for your constant creativity, because that means more music for us. So, Thomas, Rhett, congratulations again on the album. We're so excited for you, and we cannot wait to hear it live tonight. Is there one song in particular you're most looking forward to playing?
You know what's funny about tonight? There's 3 songs that we're playing that the band and I learned this week. So I'll be curious. You know, if we mess up, just don't say anything.
I was going to say which 3, but I won't ask you.
But no, I think one I'm most excited about playing tonight is a song called Mama's Front Door. I think it's one of my favorite songs on the record. I love songs that progress from a young age to current day, and this one does that for me. I remember dropping my 2-year-old off at Lauren's mom's house, which is the house that they've lived in since Lauren was born. And I dropped Lennon off, and she walked through the front door, and my heart just kind of, you know, just went kind of crazy, because I was just kind of like, man, I have stood on this porch in so many different versions of myself. I've been a friend, I've been a boyfriend, I've been an ex-boyfriend, I've been a fiance, a husband, and now I'm getting to like literally watch my child walk through this door that I have walked through in so many different points of life. And so I just love when you can write a song randomly about a door, but all of a sudden a lot of people can relate, whether it's a door or a truck or a street or a field or whatever, like those memories that you have in that place. Every time you go back to them, you're always just kind of a little different version of yourself, you know? And so really excited to play that one tonight.
Well, Thomas Rhett, congratulations. Enjoy tonight, and thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Yeah, thank you. Much appreciated.
Of course. Thanks for hanging out with me and Thomas Rhett as we celebrate his album, Where We Started. Make sure to tune into the iHeartCountry album release party at 7 on our iHeartRadio YouTube channel, and we'll see you there.